Now I'm going to Facebook.
So there, Josh?
Yep, and I think we are live now.
Okay.
All right, hello everybody. It's Josh Geartz, Community Engagement Coordinator for Songwriting with Soldiers. We are live now.
So there, Josh?
Yes, and today is December 9th, and today we are here for another Creatively Strong interview, and today's special guest is none other than Kenneth Sargent. Hi, Kenneth.
Hey, Josh, what's going on, man? Thanks for the invite, brother.
Oh, anytime, brother. We're really happy to have you here today. You got quite the story, and we're really excited to have you share it with us today.
Yeah,
So,
likewise,
Kenneth,
I'm excited to share it with you for sure.
yeah. So, Kenneth, you attended the very first ever, it wasn't even a retreat, it was a pilot program at the time, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a retreat at all. It was in 2011, I think it was, in Colorado Springs, and it was, yeah, it was completely new. Nobody really knew what to expect when we got there. It was huge. It was huge, man. It was huge.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great way to describe it for a lot of us, because it's really hard to put into words what it's like when to go through this program as a participant. So from what I understand, we got to chat a little bit earlier this morning, and you were in the Army.
Yeah, I was for 16 years. I was medically retired June 26, 2016. I actually joined September 12th, 2001, the day after 9/11. I was 31 years old when I joined.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Big decision.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you find Songwriting with Soldiers? Can you tell us a little bit about your, how you found us, how you came about to come to a retreat, and then what was your experience like at the retreat?
Yeah, for sure. So I was in WTU, which is the Warrior Transition Unit for wounded warriors that are either transitioning out of the military, being medically retired, or being returned to duty. It's just a safe place for people to just recover and not worry about having to do PT and formations, all this other stuff. You concentrate on just doctor's appointments. And it was brought to me that when after I had my surgery, they told me that it's most likely that I would never be able to walk again because of the damage done to my sciatic nerve. So I was in a wheelchair for a while, and beating the odds, I got out of the wheelchair, got my return to duty status, and so they wanted to. I think they were, if I remember right, I think they told me it was like an interview or something, and they wanted to they wanted me to spend a weekend up in the resort, up in the mountains. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I had no idea what was about to hit me in the face. Like I had no idea. And so I arrived there, and there was a lady there sitting at a little table. And she asked me my name. I showed her my ID, and she gave me a little sticker to put on my shirt. It says, "Hi, my name's Kenneth Sargent." They assigned me a room, and I put my things down, and they said the meeting was going to be at a certain time in the evening. And I was there about 2 hours prior. So I went downstairs to the bar, and I was just sitting there, and this guy walks up to me and introduces himself, and we sit down and we start having a conversation. The guy that introduced himself to me, I had no idea who this guy was. I thought he was just some regular guy walking in, and just happened to sit down next to me. So he started asking me questions. Oh, are you here for this retreat thing? And I said, yeah. And he started asking me about what I did in the Army, and oh, you were in Iraq? Oh, wow, that's cool. Well, what did you do there? And did you get injured there? Yes, I got injured. And my end state to him was, regardless of what injury I had, regardless of the PTSD, the TBIs, no matter what I had, the mission still continues. And I told him it is what it is. And he looked at me, and he stared at me, and he said, "That's it." And I said, What's it? Like, I don't even know who you are. Like, what do you mean that's it? He said, "It is what it is. That's the name of your song. Hi, I'm Darden Smith, and I'm going to be your songwriter for this weekend." I was like, holy crap. This whole time I've been sitting here talking to Darden, had no idea. And I just like laid out my entire story to this stranger who I didn't even know was a part of this weekend that was I didn't even know what it was gonna be. So and it flew from there. I met Radney Foster. I met him, and Darden and Radney the next day began this amazing journey of my words and putting it to music as I spoke. Like they had both had guitars, they had a laptop, and as I was speaking, they began to choose certain sentences. And as I was speaking, they would start playing the guitar and start singing these songs, you know, and it just came alive. Like I was, they put my words, they brought my words alive. And it was the most amazing thing because, you know, as veterans, when you're, when we struggle with PTSD and TBI, we stay to ourselves, you know, nobody understands. The only people that I can talk to are other battle buddies that have been there and know my frustrations and struggles. So to do this with somebody that has no clue, this was their pilot. This was the beginning. To talk to somebody and be as open as I was with somebody and as comfortable as I was with them, hearing the finished product put tears in my eyes because I was hearing my thoughts, everything that was going through my head when I'm by myself, when I'm thinking outrageous thoughts about all the stuff that I've been through and done and seen. I'm hearing this. I'm hearing my thoughts now out loud with music, and it was inspirational. It was completely off the rocker, like blew me away. I didn't want it to end. It was the saddest day of my life, I think, was when that retreat ended. I went, and I still to this day, I follow Radney and I talk to Darden. I've created a friendship with Darden where we can go 6 months without talking to each other. And when we do talk to each other, it's as if we never had a break in conversation. So what an amazing experience. And to see the level that it's on now and how big it is now, you know, when we did it, it was Darden, it was Radney, it was Jay, and I think maybe one other songwriter singer, but I know for them three for sure, and that's all we had. And now it's, you know, you have you're doing this, you have the meditation on Songwriting with Soldiers. You got so many things. Mary is just blowing this thing completely around this globe. And I'm so proud of Mary and Songwriting with Soldiers from where it came. And none of us knew that it was going to get this big. You know, I know I didn't for sure. So.
Yeah, man, it's incredible. But, you know, a lot of the growth is because of the past participants like you being willing to show up, first of all, and then be vulnerable and be brave enough to open up and be honest, because that's where the real growth is.
Well, you know, the pressure was accepting the invite because,
yeah,
you know, I'm good. No, I don't want to be around anybody. I'd rather just be by myself, and I'm happy. I'm good. My focus is to getting returned to duty. I need to get back to my unit, and then it just, I'm so happy that I accepted the invite. So happy because it's not something that we traditionally do as veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, that's kind of the biggest step for most of us. Is just that very first step is just showing up, accepting that invite.
Yeah.
So, you know, the mission with Songwriting Soldiers is to use collaborative songwriting to build creativity, connections, and strengths, right?
Right.
So you touched on a little bit the connections that were formed that weekend and how they're still, you know, all these years later still going on. And that's so true for many of us in this community. But let's touch a little bit about your creativity, because you've got a lot of it. And and I'd love to hear how that moment at that weekend retreat, you know, planted those seeds for you to grow into what you're doing now. And if you could tell us a little bit about that and you know, how it went from there to where you're at now.
It's unbelievable, Josh. It's I was that veteran that was depressed. I was that veteran that found comfort in a dark room. I was that veteran that refused to speak to anybody or go to Walmart or be outside. I was that guy. Hearing my thoughts, my pain, my frustrations, my anger put to words, and I'm hearing myself now. When I went to the retreat, I was told that I was going to be medically retired. That made me angry because I wasn't leaving the military on my terms. So I fought and I fought and I fought and I fought and I fought, and I finally got my return to duty status after this retreat. Hearing my words, Josh, and you know, this is no, I'm not kidding when I say this. When you hear your words and your frustrations and your pain that you hold in, and you hear it in a song, I don't even think it has to be a song. I think if somebody was just, if I wrote it down and somebody read it back to me, I think it would have been almost the same reaction, because you're hearing this, like, this is me that you're talking about. And so it pushed me in a completely different direction. I wasn't ready to get out of the military. I stayed more focused and more driven. The only failure I had was I was trying to get back to my original unit, but Branch got a hold of it and said, "Oh, heck no, man, you've been here for like 12 years, man. It's time for you to take a knee. You know, you've had 4 deployments." So they sent me to Oklahoma. And I became, I worked for 178 for the AIT unit. And I became the ops sergeant for the battalion. And I did 3.5 years there. And then my injury really started to affect me, where there's not much, I just couldn't do very much, you know. So they medically retired me, sent me back to Fort Carson, and medically retired me. When I was medically retired, I had no idea what to do. I fell back into my depression. I reached out to Darden, just to say hi, just to hear some kind words. I locked myself in my house again. 7 o'clock at night, I realized I hadn't brushed my teeth, hadn't showered, hadn't shaved, still have the same clothes on that I got out of the bed in. And I was doing this every day. So one day, my old first sergeant came to my house and he verbally slapped me. "What are you doing? Look at you. You smell. Your house is dirty. What happened to you? What are you doing? You were this strong leader that we all depended on. And look at you now. When was the last time you showered? When was the last time you changed clothes? Get yourself together." So we started talking, and a lot of tears, you know. And he, you know, when we used to have like military functions and stuff, like get-togethers for the company and for the battalion and stuff, I would always nominate the cook. I'll cook, mainly because whoever was the cook got a free bottle of Hennessy. So I would always me and my first sergeant, the one that came over to my house, we would always be the ones to raise our hands. We'll do it. We'll cook all day, you know. And this went on a lot. Like I started cooking for everything that we did. So sitting in my garage that day, my first sergeant said, "Look, you always cook for us. Why don't you go to culinary school? The military pays for it, you know." I don't know, man. So I did. I went the following week. This was in Colorado Springs. I drove to Denver to Johnson and Wales. Big plug, because Johnson and Wales really opened the culinary world for me. So I went and I did the little interview thing. They walked me around the school, went through the campus, went through the culinary portion of it. And I loved it. I accepted it, or I was accepted. Post 9/11 paid for it, and I started my culinary schooling. Completely different world. This was my first interaction with the civilian world, right? And 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming out of high school now, starting their first year of college, you know. So I class started at 7:30, and I would be in the parking lot 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning with my uniform, my chef coat completely pressed and starched, my black chef shoes completely spit polished, you know, fingernails cut, clean shaven, hair cut. I mean, I was back in soldier mode, you know, and I was wondering, where in the hell is everybody at? It's 5:30, class starts at 7:30. Why is not anybody out here yet? You know, and I did that every day, every single day I did that. I found structure again, because when you get out of the military, that's the biggest problem, is you don't have structure anymore. You're not around people that can relate to you anymore. It's just you know, so you lose that, and in turn you lose yourself. And now I'm in this culinary class and I have structure. And I met this other veteran. Her name was Kate. She was an Air Force veteran. And I started to really get into this culinary thing. Like I wanted to be the best. I wanted to prove myself. Not like when I went to basic training. I was 31 years old when I went to basic, competing against 18-year-olds. So I always made sure, how fast do you run? Okay, I got to run faster than that. How many push-ups can you do? Okay, I got to do more push-ups than that. And it's the same thing now with college. I'm like, okay, I'm getting 100 on everything that I push in today, man, because I'm not going to let anybody outdo me. 3 months into the school, I was offered to study abroad. So I was talking to Kate, the Air Force veteran, and they offered us Peru. And I said, Peru, yeah, let's do Peru. So we signed up for Peru. They canceled it because we were the only ones that signed up. So they said, we have our other option. We have either Pan Asia or Italy. So me and Kate talked about it, and Italy was 6 weeks. So we said, well, let's do Italy. Let's go to Florence. So we went to Florence. And if you ever go to Italy, you really got to be careful because Italy will hook you. Italy will snatch you up and not let you go. And that's what happened to me. I got there for the 6-week course. When the 6-week course was finished, so let me back up. So while I was there for those 6 weeks for the study abroad, 4 weeks in, my father passed away in Denver, Colorado, which is where I was going to school at. And I couldn't get back right away. And I had 2 weeks left. So I talked to my brother, talked to my family, and I said, hey, look, Dad wanted to be cremated. We can go ahead and go through that process, and let's hold off for the funeral and the memorial service and all that until I get back. So we did that. So while I was there, the last 2 weeks, the head chef sat me down. He goes, hey, look, man, we really like your work ethics. We really like your learning process. And we think the veteran aspect of this is really helping you organize things in a kitchen that we've never seen before. We'd like to invite you back next month. And we want you to represent Italy in Manhattan. And we're going to fly you back to New York, and we're going to have you cook in New York and represent Italy. And I'm like, what? No way. Yes, for sure. I'll do it. Yeah. So I came home, buried my dad, or I had the memorial service and the funeral. Month later, I flew right back to Italy. They trained me up for 3 weeks and flew me to Manhattan, and I was able to cook at the James Beard House. I didn't know what the James Beard House was. The James Beard House was the Super Bowl of culinary. Now, mind you, I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. So here, I'm a disabled veteran. Thank you for your service. Let me let you park up front. Let me give you 10% off. Respect. In Italy, I'm Kenny. I'm just Kenny. And people respect me for that. And it made me have this entire different feeling about life. Like, I really love this, like, you're not looking at me or helping me just because I'm a disabled veteran. You're seeing that I have some sort of talent that I didn't see in myself. And you're using that, right? So I'm like, okay, so they flew me to Manhattan. I cooked for 96 people, this amazing 2-course meal. And then they flew me back to Italy. I finished off. Now, while I was there with all this stuff, I'm getting credit for this at my Johnson & Wales school in Denver. So I'm not losing any time. I'm actually gaining credits from them, right? So I come back to Italy after Manhattan and finish that 3 weeks out. And then they say, hey, look, when do you graduate from Johnson & Wales? I said, next year in May. They said, we want to offer you a master's program for you to come back to Florence and get your master's after you graduate. They didn't know that I was nowhere near getting my degree yet, right? So what happened was I started flying back and forth. And I was taking classes at Johnson & Wales. We'd have a break. I'd fly to Italy and take a couple of classes there and then fly back. It was a crazy trial. And so I ended up graduating Johnson & Wales, packed my bags, went to Florence and started my master's, right? 3 months into my master's, my mom passed away. So now I got to fly back to Texas, bury my mom, and go right back. I'm on this, like, how many times can you kick me? I'm starting to get that feeling, just at what point do I just say, I'm done, man, I can't take this anymore. But you know what, Josh? I never did, man. I never said that, bro. I never said that. I don't know why. I don't know what pushed me further. I don't know what made me. I mourned my mother on an airplane bathroom flying back to Italy. I was only in the States 3 days. I landed. Next day we had the funeral. Next day I flew back to Italy. And I hit the ground running at this point, you know. it was more of a I'm gonna do it for mom mission, you know, like I got to keep going, I got to keep moving. So I did my master's, and this is a wild story, man, because I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran that's been to Iraq, that's done this, that's done that, and these guys don't even realize that I'm an average Joe there. I'm just like this. I'm this normal. I'm just Kenny, and I'm loving life, man. I'm loving life. So I get there, finish my master's, and I was offered, the only one out of my class, I was offered a position as a chef professor at the same school I graduated from in Florence, teaching Italian cuisine as an American. Never happened before. It made history for the school, and I accepted the position, right? So I'm renting this condo, this beautiful condo in Florence. I have this great job now. I've got my social security number for it's called a codice fiscale in Italy, but it's this. Actually, I can show it to you real quick. And I got my citizenship, and now I'm living like I'm living. This is what they give you right here. It's probably backwards. Oh, hold on, let me get the shade going. Right there.
Oh,
That's the Italian social security card that you got to have when you go to work there.
wow.
So oh, so let me back up. So while I'm in my master's, I forgot to tell you, they also invited me to do a competition in Rimini, Italy. Now I'm nervous as crap about this, you know, because I still got that mentality, like I can't. So the picture that you see of me with the tall hat and all the sponsors, that was at the competition. And out of 100 chefs, I came in 5th place. I think I should have got 3rd. No way I was getting 1st and 2nd, because you're able to walk around and look at people's dishes. So I knew 1st and 2nd place, I was knocked out. I knew there's no way I could top that, but I felt comfortable with a 3rd place. But I ended up getting 5th place. So just wanted to say that. So anyway, so I graduate, I get this job, and I'm working as an American in this Italian college as a chef professor, teaching Italian cuisine. I'm also teaching Americans who are on vacation and want to take night classes on how to make pasta and stuff like that. So being the new boot teacher, you know, they were like, okay, well, it's just like being in the military. Yeah, go sweep the motor pool. Okay, private. So for me, it's like, yeah, here, take this 8 p.m. cooking class, but make sure you're at work at 6 in the morning, you know? So, but it was such an amazing run. Like I was happy to do it, and they couldn't understand it. Like, dude, why are you so happy that you won't get home till midnight? Yeah, I'm okay. I've slept less, you know?
Yeah.
And then while I was there, my boss had a restaurant in Florence, and he offered me a position there as being the executive chef of his restaurant. So I was like, yes, I'll do it. See, I'll do it, you know? And so now I find myself with this really nice condo, with a job as a professor teaching Italian cuisine, with a job being an executive chef in Florence, Italy, and my life couldn't be better. It just couldn't be better. I missed my family every day. I missed my kids every day, but we spoke every day. Before my mom passed, while I was in Italy, I called her every morning, you know, so that was, I think that's another thing that really made things a little easier for me, is because I did speak to my mom every day. But talking to my kids every day, talking to my family every day, really kept me there longer, because everyone supported me. And then all my battle buddies, like my unit, that we have this unit page where all of us are on this page, you know, from general down to private. I mean, we're all on this page, and I was getting so many kudos, and it was just pushing me harder. I'm like, yeah, all right, man, you know, and it just made me happier and just push harder and harder, man. So that's how. And now I'm an executive chef from Florence, Italy. What I'm doing now is I'm doing a cooking show on Facebook. It's called Cooking with Kenny. Plug. Facebook, Cooking with Kenny. We go live every Saturday or Sunday. I send out an ingredient list and a menu on Monday, It gives everybody time to buy all their ingredients for the week. We go live on Saturday or Sunday, weather permitting, and then we cook together. I haven't done anything about 3 weeks because the weather up here in North Texas has been really crappy lately. So I'm just kind of waiting for that to clear up a little bit, and then we'll get back going. I'm heading back to Italy in January, and we'll start our YouTube channel, and we're going to kick that off and do like a food blog, and instead of posting pictures of me in Italy, I'm going to actually take everybody with me and show them, show them on video on YouTube exactly what I see and the foods I eat, and explain a lot of things to everybody. So
I can't wait to see.
Of a ride. It's been one heck of a ride, brother, since Songwriting with Soldiers, man.
Oh yeah. So I know you're real busy with all of that, but we also got to talk a little bit about some things you want to do in the future. You know, you're talking about how blessed you are and all the hard work, and it's paid off. And you mentioned how you had this idea of how you want to kind of pay it forward. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So the culinary journey for me, when I was telling you that the VA would push, I was taking 12, 13 pills, 5 hours a day, every 5 hours. I mean, I used to take them in this little shot glass. I didn't get hooked on them, but I was feeling that was about to happen, so when I started culinary school, I started to realize as weeks went by towards the beginning, I wasn't taking my meds anymore. But I would realize it days later, like, when was the last time I took my meds? God, it was like last week, the last time I took my meds. But because I was so focused, I had structure again. I had a new mindset on what I was focused on, which was culinary. And getting good grades and bypassing these teenagers. I had all these things happening, and I realized that it wasn't really affecting me, that I wasn't taking the meds. And I came to realization that it was culinary. It was culinary that was taking my focus away from, what time is it? Oh, I got to take my Zoloft, and so with that, I wanted to start a nonprofit organization where I can help soldiers and introduce soldiers to culinary as a therapy instead of pills, instead of medication, and show them how easy it is to deter yourself from taking these pills. Obviously, I'm not going to condone people to not take their meds. That's the last thing I'm going to do, because we all need some type of help. I just want to show them what it did for me personally, and how my PTSD. I've had 6 traumatic brain injuries, and my PTSD has now leveled itself out because I'm happy, I'm focused, I got things I want to do. I'm excited to get these menus out, and it's just, this culinary thing is just so intriguing that I don't even think about taking my meds. And I want to introduce that to veterans. So my goal is to have a nonprofit organization, have a fairly large property, 100 acres, 200 acres, have a pond on there, have a building, have 4 cabins, have a main building with a restaurant-sized kitchen. Invite the veterans and their families or their spouses and children to the retreat. I take the veterans hunting and fishing. Whatever we catch or shoot, we bring back into the kitchen. I show them how to fabricate the meat, and we start cooking. And we sit down at a 30-person dining room table, and we break bread, and we let the veterans introduce themselves, and we let the veterans introduce their dish and what they made, whether they made the dessert, whether they made the main course, whether they made the appetizer with whatever we caught or shot, then and let them introduce what they just created. But at the same time, bring the families out there, because that's one thing that we don't realize we neglect, is we don't only neglect ourselves, but we neglect our spouses, we neglect our kids. And I know for me, it was never intentional that I neglect anybody. It was just something that happened, and you don't realize it. You just think that's the way life is now for me. I want to change that. I want to bring whatever the veterans are doing. I want to bring the families out with them, And if they don't hunt, if they don't fish, I want to provide something else for them. I want to provide a spa day for the wife. I want to provide tanning, tanning boots or pedicure, manicure, or a daycare for the kids. I've got ministers already online that are willing to support this project and come in as counselors, whether it be individual counselor or family counseling, marriage counseling. I've got that on board. I've got teachers on board with this. I just don't know how to do a business plan. I don't know how to begin a nonprofit organization. I know I've got a great idea, and I'm 100% positive that this will work. I just need the opportunity, and I need somebody to help me. I'm 100% in on this. So if anybody does help me, this would be my only focus. This would be my 100% all in. I would focus on nothing else but this retreat. And again, it'd be a nonprofit for sure, but that's how this whole culinary thing eventually, what it turned into, is helping veterans use culinary as a therapy. For me, it's a lot easier. A lot of us deal with a lot of crap from the VA. You've got some states that got awesome VAs, like Colorado Springs has an amazing VA. I'm in North Dallas right now, and I can't say too much about North Dallas VA because it's just not up to par, So all the stresses that we have in life, I want to be able to introduce culinary. I want to introduce the veterans like what I can do and show them how easy it is for them to do it, which is why I started the Cooking with Kenny page, because I cook things that look difficult as heck to make, and I show you how easy it is to make. Instead of running to McDonald's, take 35, 45 minutes and make this amazing meal that I just showed you how to do. It just takes time. It takes 45 minutes, and it's easy to go spend $10 at McDonald's real quick and feed the family, but 45 minutes in the kitchen to cook a home cooked meal that is for me, I think it's a lot healthier and it's a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. In talking about that, you kind of brushed on a lot of the aspects of things that we talk about at the retreats and with Songwriting with Soldiers. You talked about, one of the big things, the PTSD didn't seem as overwhelming because you were happy, and Mary Judd, who's dedicated to the study of happiness, she talks about pleasure, engagement, and all those things, and how, when you're engaged and being creative with things, how time seems to pass and, you lose track of time.
Absolutely.
And this is you using one of your strengths, in creativity, and then wanting to just, pay it forward and spread some of those seeds that Mary talks about.
I definitely want to pay it forward 100% because it worked for me, and it's exciting for me because I struggled with PTSD. I struggled with my traumatic brain injuries, with anxiety and panic attacks. I was on mini press and all these other mind altering pills, and I want to pay it forward now. I want to show veterans what I did to combat that, because a lot of people are afraid to ask for help. I didn't ask for help. I didn't ask for help. This was just thrown at me, and I ran with it. And now I want to present it to everyone. I'm like, here, you don't wait. Here, I'm gonna show you. I want to show you. And I think with Mary's teachings and Mary's beliefs, it's working. What Mary is doing, it's working, and that's it's coming from somebody that's not a veteran and helping the way she is phenomenal. It's because the worst thing I've ever done, I think, is be forced to go to see a psychologist and tell her my story or the things I went through or the things I've seen or done. But all I can focus on is that University of Arkansas diploma on your wall, and thinking, you're 26 years old, 28 years old. How can you relate to what I'm doing? When my veteran buddies, when my battle buddies tell me, I'm going to school, I don't know what to take, what should I take? I say, be a counselor. Be a counselor. You know how popular you would be as a veteran and a counselor because you can relate to people? So what Mary is doing is over the top, man. This should be on Dr. Oz. Like, she should be on Oprah Winfrey or some show that really pushes this thing out really, really big, because I mean, come on, you got Radney Foster on the list. That dude's a Hall of Famer, man. He wrote the rodeo anthem. I mean, let's get Mary out there and show the success of this project and how big it's gotten. You know, I guarantee you, Mary didn't think it was going to get this big. You know, I don't think anybody thought it was going to get this big. And I'm proud of Songwriting with Soldiers. I'm proud of what they brought to my table, and I'm happy that I accepted the invitation, and it pushed me to where I'm at today. 100%, it pushed me to where I'm at today.
Well, I can tell you that I know for a fact that we're really proud of you too. And we're really proud of you for showing up and for not giving up and for accepting invitations and for showing up and also for wanting to share, because that's a big part of it, is the sharing part and letting others know you're not alone.
Yeah.
I did it. You did it. You know,
Yep.
we can.
Now let's all do it.
Everybody. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have any other tips or anything else you want to address or say to the community? When we're done, when we get off, we'll make sure that there's a link to your pages, you know, in the comments, so everybody can watch and see what unfolds in the future with you.
Okay, I'll also send you, I already have a YouTube channel. I just don't have anything loaded on it yet because it's for January.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I'll go ahead and add that link on so everybody could like and subscribe to that YouTube channel. I'd really like this YouTube channel to hit more veterans. So yeah, I'll click that link out, have everybody start following it and subscribing to it, because there's going to be a lot of content that's going to be on here, like a lot. I'm going to start loading this thing up in coming January. The only thing that I really want to say is let's do this retreat, man. Let's get this thing. Let's just get the ball rolling. And if anybody's out there that's watching this or listening to this or has any connections with people that are willing to donate properties or help me do a business plan or just help me with the organization of a nonprofit, I'm 100% in. I'm 100% committed. I think I found something really strong that will help the veterans with therapy. You know, I really think that it's something that we can all do together. I really do. I'm positive about that. I just need to help.
Yeah,
I just need help.
well, that's a great thing about having such a big community now, you know, talking about how big it's grown, is that we have so many different members now. They have so many wide varieties of talents and expertise that I'm pretty sure that somebody's going to be able to help you out.
Absolutely.
I just had one other question for you. You know, you mentioned a few times about not being able to relate, you know, with the civilian side and how going through culinary school and the retreat, you seen any difference in that kind of outlook now, you know, this many years later? Do you find that there is a little bit more in common with veterans and, you know, your civilians?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I was like everybody else. I was the same as everyone else. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I shut myself down. You know, I'm not going to talk to you. You don't know what the heck I'm whatever I tell you, how are you going to relate to me? All you're going to do is compare me to the guy that you talked to before me, you know? And now, I talk to everyone. I open up, like if somebody, I mean, I don't, like all veterans, I don't go into details, you know, about stuff, but I'm not afraid to talk to people. I'm not afraid to, when they ask me questions, you know, I'm not afraid to ask. I'm not afraid to answer. It's just an amazing feeling. And again, we revert back to Songwriting with Soldiers, where I met this guy at a bar and he was just asking me random questions, and I'm just running my mouth to this guy, and I have no idea who he is, you know, until the end of our conversation. And I think it all started there, because that was, I think, my first interaction after my injury, that I actually talked to a civilian guy and had no idea who he is. And I wasn't drunk, which I don't drink very much. I'm just using that. You know, I wasn't influenced by any other toxins, you know, other than my natural life. So I use that every day now. I was never afraid to talk to civilians. It was more like, I'm not going to talk to you because you can't relate to me. You know, get away from me.
You know, one of those micro connections, those micro moments that Mary talks about, you know, trying to hold on to those and let your day fill up with all these little mini moments of positive things, instead of always focusing on all the, it's a lot
Yep.
easier to be negative. It's a lot less energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's to the point where I love interacting with civilians, and I really see their love for veterans. I see their support and their respect, and it's amazing how many people, whether it's one generation, two generations, or three generations, come from a military background. I did this interview. I did this podcast interview last week with a lady that I met at the car wash. My truck was in the car wash getting washed, and it has an Iraq sticker on it. And the lady was sitting next to me, and she goes, "Excuse me, sir, is that your black truck?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Were you in the service?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I was in the Army." And she goes, "Oh, yeah." We started talking, and we sat there and talked for about an hour while my truck was getting washed. And her van was parked right behind mine. And she tells me she's this author, and she's written several books, and she was on the Dr. Oz show, and she was on CNN, and she has her own podcast now, and her son is in the military, and she'd really like to interview me. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, okay, civilian lady, right? So I'm like, "Okay, cool, let's do it." So last week she interviewed me on this podcast, and it was crazy how open up I was with her. And I did my research on her, you know what I mean, to make sure she was legit and everything. I mean, she's 100% legit, man. She's an author. She's wrote several books, and she was on Oz, and she was on CNN, and we did this amazing podcast, and I was completely open with her. So life's a lot easier when you do that. Life's a lot easier when you allow yourself to finally breathe and be able to talk to people other than just your battle buddies. I think it's also a good thing, because a lot of civilians, I think, are afraid to talk to veterans because of the way that we are closed off. So when you do finally talk, they gain a whole nother respect level for you.
Mhm.
Because they start to hear a portion of your story. So I'm wide open, man, to talk to people now, man. My life is happy. I love my life.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so
Hey,
much.
real
Yeah,
quick,
go ahead, man.
Darden, call me. Radney, let's all get together. Jay, let's all get together and write another song, man. Let me know the next retreat you're gonna be at. I'll get on a plane. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who joined us here. Feel free to post comments, questions in the comments. Well, Kenneth and I will make sure we get to those and look for those links. And we can't wait to see what happens with you in the future. We look forward to those cooking shows, and hopefully sometime in the new year, when you're all set up, maybe we can get another one of these done, and you can give a little cooking class to the Songwriting Soldiers community.
I would love to do that. Seriously. Yeah, wait till I get back from Italy. We'll get on the show again, and we'll do a cooking demonstration. You guys like and follow my page, Cooking with Kenny. The link will be in the comments. Follow, and share my page with all your friends. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link will also be in the comments. Josh, what an amazing time, man. Thank you so
Awesome,
much
brother.
for this
Thank you,
opportunity,
man.
brother. Keep in touch,
Thank you,
man.
everybody. Happy, safe holidays to all of you. Take care, everybody.